Oh man. Ladies and gentlemen, March Madness has just intensified, literally on steroids. And for many you don't know, you may think that this is the official beginning for March Madness, but in actuality, March Madness had already begun sometime in late February, early March, in which you see all the majors and their conference tournaments and win their conference tournaments. That's when March Madness began. Now we're dealing with the real height of March Madness. And as many of you know, around the time of this recording, that Selection Sunday has basically commenced. Basically, all the teams have been selected. All of the teams have been ranked. And we are going to actually just clarify how the NCAA committee made their decisions on the 68 teams that have actually been came by and they felt would be a great fit for this year's tournament for both the men's as well as the women. Actually, I won't even say the women's side because I know the women's side is a bit different. But we are going to focus specifically on the men's side for the time being. And then we'll focus on the women's side definitely later on. Hopefully later on, probably tomorrow or the next day of this. But we are going to actually dig thoroughly as to why the NCAA committee picked the teams they mainly have. And also Joe goes to confirm and also approve that all of these bracketologists that has projected these teams and all these certain projections, like who's the first four, last four in, first four out, all that type of nonsense, all these things, these, bracketologists mainly came by. No disrespect to them. I'm really happy they actually getting paid their money's worth because there's so many people that are literally anxious on their favorite team actually making the tournament, and they actually look into this type of material to see who or not they're going to be the first four in or the last four out. So many factors, so many variables. That's why these bracketologists are actually mainly here earning the big bucks because of that. And I salute them for it. You know what I mean? Keep doing your job. Keep getting your money. I commend you for doing what you're doing. I have no issue with y'all whatsoever. But all these things, from what I'm looking at, is mainly hogwash. Number one, because the committee makes a final decision on whose teams goes to March Madness at the end of the day. And number two, the selection and anticipating who's going to be national champion year by year is extremely unpredictable. So much so, in fact, I considered actually trying to run a model to see, to predict like the future champion for this coming year and the coming year is definitely up ahead. Yet it's very, very difficult to do so. Number one, it's extremely unpredictable. There's so many teams coming to the play. So many choices can be changed within hands. It could be other coaches that come by and can actually take a program to literally new heights, unexpected to past history. So many hidden variables and so many hidden factors coming through out of like thousands of D1 schools within the institution of the National Collegiate Athletic Association. So let's go take a look at how this field is mainly picked, ladies and gentlemen. So if we go down to the window capture, if I'm able to check through Chrome, and we see how the field of 68 D1 men's teams are mainly picked for March Madness, right? So if we scroll down, right, you see all these things that are mainly here, and you see the following is how the 68 teams are selected, seeded, and placed in the NCAA bracket each season by the NCAA Men's Basketball Committee, in which you see the information of selecting the 37 best at-large teams, which is number one, to seed the field of 68 teams, and three, place the teams into the championship bracket. So according to the NCAA's principles, you do a selection in which they have their committee select the 37 best teams that are not elsewise automatic qualifiers for the conference to fill in the at-large berths. Mainly it's like the combined list of teams for like the Power Four conferences and like other unique conferences that are actually very great in basketball historically. In previous times, prior to, Pac-12 dissolving, mainly it's Power 5, but since Pac-12 mainly dissolved, you got four, right? ACC, SEC, Big 12, Big 10, right? ACC is the Atlantic Coast Conference. SEC is the Southeastern Conference, right? Excuse me. They endeavor to achieve reasonable kind of balance in each region of the bracket, and they have committee members should not be present during any discussion regarding selecting the team the individual represents as an elected director or commissioner. So it means that person that's involved with that team has to step out just to maintain neutrality and just to avoid bias, right? Members submit are only answering general, factual questions about teams and the conference represents, not opinions, right? No point in the process shall a member vote for a team the individual represents as an athletics director or commissioner. Bias can be involved in that. A member representing the conference office will not be present during any discussion about or participate in a vote for a team that has formally declared their intent to transition to the conference the member represents. At no point in the process shall a member vote for a team the individual represents as an elected director or commissioner. A member representing the conference office shall not be present during any discussion about or participate in a vote for a team that has formally declared their intent to transition to the conference a member represents. A committee member shall not be present during any discussion regarding the selection or seating of a team in which an immediately family member is a student athlete on the men's basketball team, is a member of the men's basketball coaching staff, or is a senior athletics administrator at that institution. However, upon returning to the room, committee members will be updated on relevant discussion by the NCAA's vice president of men's basketball. At no point in the process, a member vote for a team which an immediate family member is a student athlete on the men's basketball team, is a member of the men's basketball coaching staff, or is a senior athletics administrator at the institution, and all votes will be secret. And these principles or procedures are part of a comprehensive annual review of the D1 Men's Basketball Championship conducted out of each year's title. March Madness. Document was revised and approved by the D1 Men's Basketball Committee in summer 2024 and will be in effect for the 2025 championship. And you're seeing all these videos in regards to selections that actually deal with. Have all these special videos mainly done before. And they have all these resources there. Seating this a ballot. Y'all see all this stuff that's mainly there. First column, each member shall identify not more than 24 teams that, in the member's opinion, should be at large selections and determined based upon play of the date, regardless of whether a team can eventually represent its conference in the automatic qualifier. Second column, each member shall identify all teams that receive consideration for an at-large berth. No minimum or maximum in the second column. Only teams meriting consideration to receive votes. 2. Any team receiving all but 3 of the eligible votes in column 1 is moved to determine the field as an at-large selection. And number 3, the committee will form an under consideration board consisting of an alphabetical listing of teams that A, receive at least 4 votes in either column's initial ballot but did not receive enough votes to be an at-large team, or won a share of regular season conference championship as determined by the conference tie-break policy where applicable. This does not include teams that have won a share of the division title but were not the regular season conference champion. And the team may be removed from the under consideration board at any time if it receives all but 3 eligible votes, when a motion is made to remove multiple teams at once, and one of the schools is represented by a member of the committee. 2 separate motions shall be made, one inclusive only the team represented by a member, and another inclusive of all other teams. And 5, a team may be added to the under consideration board at any time, provided at least 4 eligible votes. 6 firm nominees are permitted, and they have the remaining ballots there. The committee then begins evaluating those teams on the under consideration board. Each committee member will select the best 8 teams from the under consideration board in no particular order to be added to the at-large field. When 20 or more teams are under consideration in list ballots, each member shall select 8 teams. When 14, 19 teams are under consideration in list ballots, each member selects 6 or fewer teams. 13 or fewer, select 4 teams or fewer. 24 or fewer teams being in the pool of teams during the selection scheme process. Member may not participate unless X teams votes the team he represents as commissioner within that specific team. 8 teams see most votes compromise the next at-large ballot. And then they use ranking the 8 teams using the ranking score system. Best teams valued at 1 point. 4 teams receiving the fewest points we had to the at-large field. 4 teams be held for the next ballot, and the pattern continues and continues. Come by until the at-large bid is mainly full at that point. Now they deal with the seed list. They rank the teams in true seeds, flexible other quantity of segments to field in ascending order, and as used to assess competitive balance of the top teams across 4 weeks of the championship. And they doing the same listing with when the fewer it gets, the higher they would have to actually get. When it comes from 68 all the way down to 1, right? And y'all see the patterns here, and it definitely continues to repeat. And now, definitely once those things are done, the bracket is definitely built at that point. So each region we know is definitely quadrant. There's 4 total. Definitely, if I'm not mistaken, 68 field of 68 comes through. We're dealing with about 68 teams. So basically 17 teams within each quadrant, dealing with like the first 4, which gives you like this bracket of 16, right? So community was on all 4 teams in each bracket group. 1, 16, 8, 9, 4, 35, 12, all the pattern the same. First, second round site. No 2 posses. First, second round site. They feed the different regional sites. I'm actually looking at this very carefully here. And you see all the blah, blah, blahs that's here. I don't have to read too much up in the stuff. So they want to try and the community wants to try and make this whole March Madness situation as neutral as possible. So it basically says teams remain in or as close to the areas of natural interest as possible, as determined by miles from campus to the venue. A team moving out of its natural area will be placed in its closest region to the extent possible. If 2 teams from the same natural region are in contention for the same bracket position, the team ranked higher in the seed shall remain in its natural region. A team will not be permitted to play in any facility in which it has played more than 3 games during its season, not including exhibitions and conference sports team tournaments. A host institution's teams not permitted to play at the site where the institution is hosting. However, the team may play on the same days when the institution is hosting. That's the trick. As long as that team is at a different institution, that's fine. Again, they want to try and make the situation as neutral as possible. And now they have all these placement procedures, and now they evaluate the net, basically like the at-large bids, all the new values that they have. That's how they're able to compute and how they feel as to why they filled out the brackets the way they have, and that's how they have these 2 seeds. That's mainly going on. So I don't have to read too much into this, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to actually go and dig into the actual seeding as to why the bracket is where it is. So let's look into this. And we're going to dig into this, ladies and gentlemen, and see what we have up in the field. Right? So let's go back to our window capture and see if we're able to get what we need here. So this is the official list of the NCAA March Madness standings in that order on how they felt the way it is. We know Auburn definitely number 1, Duke, Houston, Florida. They got everything mainly set on who they feel is like the toughest team up in the tournament that they mainly have that could give competitive and equal balance. This is high level juiciness, ladies and gentlemen. And it is extremely insane how things are going to play out literally within the next... Right now it's Monday, right? So starting tomorrow, it's going to really play itself out at the time of this recording. It's going to be playing out tomorrow night on how intense this tournament will be, and I am going to look forward to every single minute of it. Juicy.